experiences in aviation and in space. I changed the presentation up. I'm doing something a little bit different than I normally do. I'll show you that here in just a little bit. I'm trying to wait and see what we're going to do with the music. The presentation is going to be relatively short, 10, 15 minutes. And then we'll open up and have some two-way conversation. So please think of anything you may want to ask about flying in space, about anything you see on the screen when I show it, because you get a chance to do that here in just a little bit when we have some two-way conversation. I'm still waiting to see what happens out there. They say, what time is it now? 7:02.
Like a launch.
Just like it's like some of the launches anyway. All right. I am a musician. Some of you may know that.
You join them?
Hey, I could. Actually, no, I really do play regularly. And some of you probably know that, but I actually have an academic degree in aeronautical engineering. I also have an academic degree in music. And I thought at one time I was going to be a professional musician. So I still play regularly. I play with my own band in town, the Winston's got Cosmic Jazz Ensemble. And, oh yeah, I play regularly. Okay, I think they've stopped the music now.
Where do you play?
Yeah, where?
Oh, well, different places. I have one on the second Tuesday of the month. It's the Space Coast Big Band at a place called the Italian American Club. And second Tuesday, yeah. And then I have the next 2 or 3 things I have coming up for private. I have one next week that's private. I have one 2 weeks that's private. Sometimes I'm up at Heidi's. I used to be at Heidi's regularly on every Sunday night.
Oh, the jazz?
But jazz, but I don't go up as often as I used to. What my wife and I both, Marilyn is sitting here. We both retired from Florida Tech at the end of COVID. And I was professor of aeronautics and professor of music. I directed the Advanced Jazz Ensemble. Because as you know, people who do technical things are often musicians.
Yeah.
So our students were, majoring in engineering or physics or chemistry or whatever, and they were wanting a music program. Dr. Tony Cantney is starting one. And I would take the top 5 or 6 musicians, jazz musicians, and we put together a jazz course. And they actually got credit for it. So we would play and study the theory and techniques and so on. And it had an official catalog name, but the students named it the Jazz Syndicate. So we play jazz regularly there at the university. Okay, with that though, we'll go ahead and get started. And let's see. First slide, a little bit more about the history of Winston Scott. That's my family, that upper left-hand picture. Back in the 50s in Miami, Florida. That's where I was born. That picture was taken actually in Opelika, Florida. Anybody here from Miami or South Florida? Yeah, where from?
Miami Shores.
Miami Shores? Oh,
Well,
we talked about
yeah.
Your family. You went to Edison. Somebody went to Edison.
My parents
Anybody
and
else?
my
Any
grandparents.
other Miami people? Anyway, that's my family back in the 50s. Obviously my mom and dad and the top there, well, they passed away now. The girl in the middle was my big sister. She taught school in West Palm Beach for 40 years. She's passed away. The little dude in the middle is my baby brother. He's no longer a baby. He's retired. He was deputy sheriff in Atlanta, Georgia. So he's got some stories to tell. And then the cutest one on the picture. Fast forward, upper right-hand picture was graduation from high school, Coral Gables High School. That was taken in the living room after the ceremony, obviously. And then fast forward again, that middle picture, I've finished college, I've been in the Navy on active duty now for about 8 years. I'm being promoted. That's a promotion ceremony. I'm being promoted to lieutenant commander. Look at me. Don't I look exactly the same now? No change whatsoever. All right. Okay, this is where I did differently. Because I was in naval aviation, of course, we operate off ships. So I added 2 videos here to show you what naval aviation, because you probably don't see that very often, every once in a while. And this is actual old style footage because it's real footage from the 70s taken by a handheld camera. Now, let's back up. The Navy trains everybody in fixed wing airplanes. Then some of us get selected to go off to fly helicopters. So I did all my fixed wing training. Vietnam was still going on. You get a lot of helicopter pilots. So I went to fly helicopters. And I wound up for 4 years flying anti-submarine warfare helicopters. So that when I run the video, you're going to see what's called the SH-2 Foxtrot, ASW, anti-submarine warfare helicopter. We carry a full array of sensors to localize, detect, track, and attack submarines. And we flew off the back of destroyers. So I have over 100 landings on the back of a destroyer. And I've dropped torpedoes from a helicopter. No warheads, there's no war going, but practice exercise torpedoes. So I'm going to try to run the video, and then you'll see what it's like to come around and land a helicopter on board a destroyer. There we go. And again, this was taken with old handheld camera back in the 70s. So it's not nice spruced up video that you can download today, but it's real. Landing a helicopter on a destroyer in the daytime is not too bad. At night, bad weather is really tough because your horizon, the ship becomes your horizon. And that's how you hover a helicopter. Well, the ship's moving and you find yourself chasing the ship until you develop that capability to let the ship move around under you when it's stabilized and you put the helicopter down. You're going to see the guys run out here in just a little bit and slap chains on it. Not so bad with this weather, but when the ship's moving a lot, you don't want the helicopter to fall over or slide off. Here we go, outside picture. You see them run up and put chocks on it and slap the chains on to chain that thing down. I have been in weather so bad that we could not move the helicopter into the hangar at the end of flight ops at the end of the day and come out the next day. I just know that thing was gone. But no, it was chained down. And that's HSL 34. My squadron was 33. HSL 33. We were based in San Diego, California. We carried surface search radar. We had sonar buoys, which are listening devices active and passive sonar buoys. We had a magnetic anomaly detector, electronic support measures, surface search radar. I think I said data link systems. Maybe even in the 70s we had those. Not the modern day data link, but nice data link systems back in the day. And again, we carried torpedoes. Now, after my helicopter tour, I went back to fixed wing airplanes, and if I get this thing to go forward. Why am I not moving?
I don't know, but you're making me feel so much better about myself.
This technology has a mind of its own. I always say that. Yeah, I won't move. Just go to the next one. That one. Right there. Okay. Okay, and this is just a still picture of the same helicopter again. Now this is HSL 37, and you see on the back of the helicopter, mine was 33, and just a nice view of this combat helicopter that I flew. So after that, I went back to fixed wing airplanes and flew the F-14. This is the Navy's Tomcat, as we call it. It was, oh, come on. And this is the Tomcat coming aboard the aircraft carrier. This is actually the squadron that I served in. It was BF-84, the name of called it Jolly Rogers. And I actually flew these airplanes off the aircraft carrier. This is, you're going to see the number. This is 200, I think, which is the airplane that the air wing commander would fly. And then there's a hierarchy of pilots. My number was number 205. So you see when the airplane swings around, you see the number. And then the Tomcat, I talked about the weapon systems in aboard the helicopter. We had a really sophisticated radar and targeting system and missile guiding system. We carried 3 kinds of missiles. The AIM-54 was called the Phoenix. It was a multi-shot missile. We could detect, track, and shoot down a certain number of aircraft all at the same time without ever seeing them with our eyes. I won't say the number is probably still classified. And then if you got in close, you had the Sparrow, which was the medium-range radar guided missile, dogfighting missile. Then in closer, we had the radar, the infrared heat-seeking Sidewinder. They're still flying Sidewinders today, because they upgraded from back in the day. Remember when the Chinese spy balloon flew overhead, and we finally shot one down? They shot one down with a Sidewinder. It was AIM-9, as they call it. But of course, it's been upgraded a lot of times since the day that I flew them. Swing wing, it could be controlled by the computers, or the pilot controlled the wing sweep himself. And back then, it was only him. There were no women flying fighters in those days. Fortunately, she was on Columbia in 2003. So we lost her, but I got to fly in space with her. And I knew her real well. She was often in my back seat of the T-38. She's a very, very good pilot. So she would be in she was not a military pilot, so she didn't fly a front seat of the T-38s, but she flew in the back seat along with a lot of the other mission specialist. Takao Doi, the other guy in the white suit on the bottom there, first Japanese astronaut to walk in space, and he's going to do that spacewalk with me on this flight. I was the lead spacewalker here because I had been up before. Takao was on his first flight, and we're going to do a spacewalk together. That's why we're in the big EMUs. I talk to all kinds of different audiences, and sometimes I have to say things that you probably already know because you folks are in engineering, and some of my audiences are not. So if I say something you already know, just kind of bear with me. But the orange suits are launching entry suits, and you probably know why they're orange for search and rescue purposes. The shuttle had a very, very narrow window in the flight profile where you can bail out. And if you bail out, typically it's over water. You know, the search and rescue people can see you better with that orange. It's called international orange. If you look at the Coast Guard airplanes, they're all white and orange and so on. Okay, so these are launching entry suits. That's what we were when we launched into orbit and when we returned from orbit. Once we're up there, you're in a shirt sleeve environment, just like this room, except when we go outside. We put on a white suit, the EMU. Now that suit weighs over 300 pounds on Earth. But space is an amazing place because weight disappears, doesn't weigh anything, but it's massive. You still have that 300 pounds of bulk on your body that you have to move around in addition to your body mass, your tools, and so on. Now I'll tell you a secret. Takao and I posing with those suits on, we don't have the complete suit. We have only the top part, and it's being held up by a metal stand in the back. The top part weighs half that, probably 150 pounds. And we couldn't stand there and smile like that. So it's mounted on a stand, holding up, and we're standing and smiling, trying to look comfortable. But even with that, it was very, very difficult to pose that length of time on those pictures.